What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, it's some of my final thoughts ahead of the Game Week 1 deadline. So this is another video that I'll be doing every single game week, covering the latest team news, general news, hot topics, and answering a bunch of your questions just ahead of the deadline. So if you enjoy it, make sure to give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you want more. Let's get into it. So let's start with the team news. I watched the whole Liverpool press conference and Arne Slot was not asked about Conor Bradley's injury at all. So we don't have an update there. I did see on the Liverpool website that Bradley's listed as being injured, but it mentioned the Community Shield when I checked it. So I don't know if that's been updated either. So we just don't know. Frimpong will almost certainly start game week 1 because he's ahead of Bradley in terms of fitness. And because of that, you'd probably think he'd start 2 and 3 as well. But as soon as Bradley's back, I do think there's a serious threat to Frimpong's minutes, and they will share more game time than some people think. That's just my opinion on it, at least. Frimpong is the flair and aggressive pick. Van Dijk's where you go for the safety, but I think you know about that by now. Gravenberch suspended for game week 1, not ideal for clean sheet potential, but a Liverpool defender long term, especially Van Dijk, is still a good pick. McAllister is back fit. Whether he's fit enough to go straight into the team, I don't know. I would assume he won't be in the 11, but when he is, I wonder if he might take some set pieces off of Wirtz. We'll have to wait and see on that. Morgan Rogers has been pictured in training. Now, at the time recording, Unai Emery has not held his press conference. You will see that later today. But the fact he's in training is obviously a good sign. So if you're keen to go for Rogers in game week 1, that's promising. But wait and see what Unai Emery says. If he puts any doubts on it, just don't risk it. Bournemouth, Kluivert's back in training and could feature in game week 1. So the idea of Semenyo or Evanilson taking penalties doesn't look like it's going to last very long. Kluivert is definitely an avoid for FPL because there's no guarantee he will feature in game week 1. Their new centre-back, Diakite, maybe I pronounce it something like that. I'll look it up for future videos. 4.5 million is physically ready. So he might go straight into the team. But if you want a Bournemouth defender, just get Senesi for the same price. And Christie, 5 million midfielder, back in training but not ready for game week 1. So he's a definite no-go for game week 1 squads. West Ham, it looks like pretty much anyone you would consider is fit. Somerville and Earthy are out. No one's looking at them for FPL. There was no mention of Callum Wilson. So I don't know if that means he's available or not, but he didn't feature in pre-season. Fulkrug is definitely going to start the season as first choice number 9. And if the partnership between him and Bowen works out well and West Ham get some wins, I'm sure he'll stay in the team. And Callum Wilson just can't get and stay fit anyway. And Graham Potter was asked if new signing Hermansen will start in goal, and he didn't tell him, basically. He's not going to give away any team news. So for me, Hermansen and Areola are just clear avoids because you don't know who's going to start game week 1. My guess would be Hermansen, and he will be first choice soon. But it's not a guarantee for game week 1. For Brentford, Kelleher and Sade are back on the grass. A decision will be made on them after seeing them over the next day and a half. With Sade, I'm not sure if he's going to start. They could just play Lewis Potter left wing, and if Sade's on the bench, bring him on later on. I think he will be first choice with the current squad they have, but obviously there's risk going into game week 1, and for 7 million in FPL, I just wouldn't risk it. Kelleher, I'm like 99.99% sure that he will start, but the fact that Keith Andrews hasn't said for certain that he's fit makes me think, why would you risk it? Like a 4.5 million goalkeeper, he's good, but is he that good? I would just go for Bruggen or Petrovic instead, I think. So Kelleher probably will start. I probably wouldn't risk it. Visser won't feature at all. There's been lots of speculation about his future at the club. Looks quite likely to leave. He won't play in game week 1. Presumably Thiago will be up front. Burnley, no real injury concerns that are going to impact FPL squads. Dubravka, not specifically mentioned that I could see. So we don't know if he's definitely first choice. We don't know if he's fit. But as it stands, if you're going for a 4 million goalkeeper on the bench, it might as well be Dubravka because there's no one else that's going to play as it stands. Sunderland, no major FPL information, no mention of Mark Guiu, which is a bit frustrating. Sometimes you get embargoed press quotes that come out later on. So I'm recording this Thursday afternoon. The video is going to go live quite early Friday. It might be that we've had some information in between. Anything that's missed out in this video, I will cover on the deadline stream on Friday afternoon. And then for Fulham, Muniz is in contention. So Raul Jimenez has got a little bit of threat there to his minutes, but there's so much speculation about Muniz leaving. I'm pretty sure Raul Jimenez will start. I would just avoid both for FPL. And then Robinson, if any of you are looking for him, he's back soon. He's not available for game week 1. If you want a Fulham defender, just go for Joachim Andersen. There's less than 12 hours to go until the game week 1 deadline. Whatever team you're sat on right now, make sure to get it rated absolutely free over on Fantasy Football Hub. You can use the website or the app like I am. And if you've got any screenshots on your phone, you can simply upload them to the tool and it will automatically populate. So this team that I've been playing around with comes out with a 98% team rating, the highest I've had in pre-season so far, which indicates it's a pretty strong squad. But if you've got different teams that you're playing around with, you can upload them all and see how the ratings change for each one. Just click that link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Additionally, if you want to make use of all of the features of this tool and all the other tools that Fantasy Football Hub have to offer, this is a great time to join. The season is just about to start and there's 50% off. And if you join up and don't win your mini league, you will get your money back. Terms and conditions apply. All the links you need, description below. Let's talk about the Super Cup. It was the first proper game for Spurs under Thomas Frank. And interestingly, he rolled out a back 3 formation. It was pretty much a 3-5-2. The 2 wing backs were Jed Spence and Pedro Porro. Don't go putting either of those in your team thinking you're getting a permanent wing back. We saw this at Brentford. Thomas Frank likes to roll out a back 3 in more difficult games, which is exactly what PSG is. So if you look at the first 8 game weeks, we might see the back 3 against Man City away in game week 2. Otherwise, it's mostly going to be a back 4. Also with Jed Spence, I don't think Udogie's out for that long. So he feels like a bit too much of a short-term punt. So I would ignore him. If you want to go 4.5 defender, it's probably got to be Van de Ven. I do have slight concerns with him. I think he will be first choice alongside Romero, but his fitness is something to be slightly cautious about. In the odd game, could Danso play instead? Possibly. The fixtures are so good to start the season, I don't mind punting on Van de Ven, and he did score against PSG as well, but just letting you know about the slight risk. If you want a guaranteed starter, it's Romero or Porro who will cost you a little bit more. So Porro's not always going to play as a wing-back, but he will be attacking in a back 4. And we saw with no Maddison on the pitch, he took a lot of set pieces. That looks set to continue. So I really like Porro at 5.5. If you get stuck with him, the fixtures are good. And if you've got a spare transfer later, you can always move to Munoz if you're not starting with him. Sarr was part of the midfield 3, and he has played a lot of minutes at number 10 in pre-season. He only cost 5 million. I think he got 16 defensive contributions in this game, so he would have hit the +2 points. The thing is, he is not guaranteed to keep starting number 10. There's lots of links with Spurs moving for Eze. He'll go straight into that role. And it could be that Sarr plays a lot of minutes slightly deeper in the pivot, but that's not guaranteed either. So I think for me, I would probably ignore Sarr. He looks good short term. Long term, I'm not sure you can guarantee the minutes. Then up front was Richarlison and Kudus. Solanke was on the bench. He only got about 10, 15 minutes on the pitch. He's got to be an ignore for game week 1, I think. I'm not sure he starts against Burnley. Then you got City away. As much as I'd love to be there, I think you've got to let it go. Richarlison's too short term of an option. Although he did play well, that's why I'm even less confident about Solanke starting game week 1, because why risk it when you've got Richarlison playing okay in that number 9 role? And then Kudus alongside him, that just looks like Mbeumo, right? Mbeumo mostly played right wing, and in games where they played a back 3, he played as part of the front 2, exactly how he used Kudus. The thing with Kudus is, that match went pretty much as I expected. He looked good, did a lot of good work, didn't get any FPL returns. That's my worry. What will his output be? If they keep getting linked to players like Savinho, what will Kudus' minutes be long term? So he is first choice right wing, and if they play this back 3, we could see Solanke and Kudus front 2, so his minutes should be good. I'm still not completely convinced by the output, but if you want to go there because of the fixtures, not a bad punt at all. And like I said, defensively, Romero at 5, absolutely nailed. Van de Ven's the budget option, and Pedro Porro is great for 5.5 as well. So one dilemma I'm seeing a lot of people have is which player to drop out of Bruno Fernandes, Florian Wirtz, and Ollie Watkins. This is a decision for me that's going to go right down to the deadline, I think. Let me give you a quick overview. If you're basing it on fixtures, Bruno Fernandes is the one to miss out. In the first 5 game weeks, Man United got Arsenal at home, City away, Chelsea at home. Yes, Liverpool have got Newcastle away in 2 and Arsenal at home in 3. But their first 5 to 6 weeks just look better overall. And Villa's fixtures are very good. Their hardest game in the first 7 game weeks is Newcastle at home game week 1. It's really not that bad. So Watkins is the best for fixtures, then Wirtz, then Bruno. If you look at penalties, Bruno is clear first choice penalty taker for Man United. I think there is zero doubts around that. Could he give up a penalty to Šeško, Mbeumo, or Cunha if they're struggling to get off the mark this season? possibly. Bruno, definitely first choice. Wirtz, definitely not getting penalties. And then with Watkins, he may or may not take them ahead of Tielemans. If they sign Asensio, he might become first choice penalty taker. There's a bit of doubt there. So Bruno wins from a penalty point of view. From an attacking point of view, Bruno is very likely to play in central midfield. That could impact the amount of goals and assists he's going to get. Wirtz definitely going to play number 10. Watkins definitely going to play number 9. So that is a bit of a disadvantage for Fernandes. We'll have to see how much it does impact him, though. He's still going to get forward. And when you look at his numbers from last year, bearing in mind a lot of these were in the number 10 role, 0.22 expected goals per 90, 0.24 expected assists, quite similar to Wirtz. 0.23 expected goals per 90, 0.27 expected assists in the Bundesliga. Can he replicate those numbers in the Premier League? Probably. He's a quality player. He's going into a great team as well. And you probably would give the advantage to him. But if Bruno's numbers don't get impacted in a huge way, he still has penalties as an advantage over Wirtz. We know his minutes are absolutely secure. For what it's worth, Wirtz is going to start every game he's fit and available for. I'm pretty sure about that. How early will he be subbed? We'll have to wait and see. I think he came off around the 75th minute in the Community Shield. In a Premier League game, he probably gets longer. With Bruno, you know he's going to play 90 minutes in nearly every single match. And he's got defensive contributions as well. Now, he's not going to necessarily get them in a major way like Tarkowski or Murillo, but he will get the odd few over the season. Wirtz very unlikely to do that. So what Bruno loses from a central midfield role in terms of attacking threat, maybe he gains in penalties and defensive contributions, making him and Wirtz quite close, but Wirtz is 0.5 million cheaper, and that money might be useful for you. Watkins' advantage is that he's a forward. If you're in that position where you don't like many of the forwards, just putting him in for the good fixtures and then dealing with him later, going down to a 7.5, definitely works as well. I hate to sit on the fence. There's no right or wrong here. I will say, though, from experience of having lots of comments from FPL managers, Bruno Fernandes is the one that people are going to get frustrated by the most. As soon as he starts blanking, people will want him out of their team. And because the fixtures are a little bit rough for Man United, it just makes it harder to sit there and be patient with him. So I think for most people, from a sanity point of view, you should drop Bruno. I'm going to drop Wirtz or Watkins if I don't go for all three. And I'm finding it difficult which one to go for. It'll probably come down to which forward you prefer instead of Watkins, or whether you prefer a midfielder instead of Wirtz. As simple as that. So the combination. So for me, it might be something like Watkins and Rodgers or Watkins and Sarr versus Wirtz and Minteh. And I really like Minteh following the Community Shield. So I think right now the one I'm most likely to drop is Watkins. But honestly, I can just see a panic happening on the deadline stream. So someone asked me to do a comparison of Strand Larsen versus the £6 million forwards. Basically, is it worth paying the extra £0.5 million for Strand Larsen? If you're looking at Minteh, João Pedro, Watkins, etc., great, they are better picks, but obviously they're more expensive. This is for someone that wants to go a bit cheaper. Danny Welbeck, by the way, at 6.5. I think he will start game week 1, but the fact that Ruta has played so many minutes at number 9 does worry me a little bit about him. For me, it's really Strand Larsen versus Füllkrug here. I think with Thiago, he will start game week 1 as the number 9. I've got no doubts about that. How many minutes will he get? That's probably up for discussion because he did have a big injury problem last year. Will he be able to come straight in and play 80 to 90 every single week? That's unknown. And they probably will sign another forward. Now, that forward might be a backup, but it might be a good enough player that can come in and compete straight away. So it does worry me a little bit. But it is Forest away, Villa at home, Sunderland away, first 3. He probably starts all those games. So he might be worth the risk. If he does well, he'll keep his place. But obviously there is some risk there. And then with Barry, it's a similar situation. In La Liga last year, he put up 0.45 expected goals per 90. I think at some point this season, a lot of us will own him. I think he'll do really well. And I think he will start game week 1. And Everton's opening 4 fixtures are pretty good. I just don't know how Beto is going to affect him. There is some competition there. David Moyes has said that Beto hasn't done that well in pre-season. That might have been just to, make him play better, right? Give him something to think about. I just don't know how early Barry's going to get subbed off. Is he going to play 80 to 90 or is he going to be like a 70, 75 minute player? I'm not sure. And can Beto, win his place back? Potentially. The guy did score 8 goals in like 15 starts last year. So I think Thiago and Barry could be great value. Little bit risky to start game week 1. Whereas with Füllkrug at 6 million, he's going to start. He's had lots of minutes during pre-season. Callum Wilson's the only backup number 9. He cannot stay fit. He's not featured in any pre-season games. Will Füllkrug be on penalties? Probably not. His record is very good, but I think Paquetá will be ahead of him. If Paquetá's not on the pitch or someone else has to take penalties, Fulkrug could be ahead of Bowen, but there's a little bit of doubt there. It's just whether Fulkrug can stay fit as well. Because actually, when you look at the fixtures first 5, you could argue West Ham's are better than Wolves, but he's probably not going to have penalties. And how is he going to cope with playing so many more minutes this season? For what it's worth, I looked at his previous injury record, Fulkrug. It's not that bad. He just had quite a few problems last year. Is that going to affect him this year? Maybe. If you're going to take the punt on a 6 million, I think Fulkrug is probably my favourite. Although if Thiago and Barry get the minutes, they could be good. Is it worth paying the 0.5 of Strand Larsen? The thing I really like about him is he's also got pretty much no competition right now for that number 9 spot. He put up 80 minutes per start last year. For comparison, Minteh was 78 and Watkins was 78. So Strand Larsen's minutes are excellent. The fixtures after City at home, Bournemouth away are not bad at all. And he's got a chance of getting penalties. So I think just because of the injury stuff last year, Strand Larsen is probably worth paying that 0.5. But if you've got the perfect squad, apart from the 0.5 million you need, then Strand Larsen to Fulkrug, in my opinion, is not a bad downgrade. But if it's a choice between the two, I'm probably going to go for Strand Larsen just about. So let's rank the 5 to 5.5 million midfielders. At the top, no surprise, it's Elliot Anderson. Not going to get you a huge amount of attacking returns, but he'll get you some. He'll take the odd set piece, and he's great for defensive contributions. Last season per start, he put up 11.85. You only need to hit 12 to get the additional 2 points as a midfielder. So he's going to do that fairly consistently. Not an exciting pick, no flair about it, but he's a set and forget. You can just concentrate your transfers elsewhere. And I think he'll be pretty consistent with kind of 4+ points. Then I put Arias in second place and Reinders in third. Those two might be the wrong way around. Reinders basically depends on what you think he'll get minutes-wise and where you think he will play. Now, with no Rodri right now, not fit until at least after the first international break, Reinders' minutes will probably be pretty good. But does that mean he'll play in a deeper role? And if he does, will he still have that attacking threat we saw in the pre-season game? And will he be good for defensive contributions? It's all a little bit of an unknown. And we can't be 100% sure his minutes are going to be great. I think they will be first 4 to 6 game weeks, but it's not a guarantee, which is why I put him further down the list. If you think Reinders is nailed on to play 80 to 90 every single week, get him. He's probably the best 5.5 in that situation. Arias, not going to be great for defensive contributions, but I find it hard to see a world where he's not starting regularly and his minutes should be pretty good as well. So I think he's going to play in kind of that number 10 role. So I quite like him, but I just think from a safety point of view and to get those consistent boring points, Elliot Anderson's probably slightly better. Reinders, though, honestly, he could be such a good value player this year. If you want to go for a different 5.5 like Marlon, I just think there's too many risks. Adingra should start regularly for Sunderland. I just don't like backing newly promoted teams unless I absolutely have to. I actually put in fourth place Dewsbury Hall at 5 million. Now, I cannot be 100% sure about his minutes, but I find it hard to believe that he's not going to start regularly. It's just whether he plays in that number 10 role. Grealish is coming in, so we could see Grealish left, Dewsbury Hall central, and then Njai on the right. We could see Njai or Grealish on the left, and then whichever one doesn't play on the left centrally, and Dewsbury Hall plays a bit deeper. In which case his attacking threat would go down, but maybe his defensive contributions go up. There is some risk there, but he's only 5 million. My main issue with him right now, and why I'm struggling to lock him into my team, is where do you go if he's an issue, right? Because most of us are not going to have money in the bank to upgrade him, so we've got to make a second transfer, or you've got to move to another 5. You could go for someone like Xhaka, and he's probably right up there in terms of best options. He's going to be nailed. He's going to take some set pieces. He may even get penalties, although there's not a high chance of that, but it could happen. The fixtures are very good as well. I just don't know in that Sunderland team how many attacking returns he's going to get and how good he's going to be for defensive contributions, but that probably is your safer bet for minutes. Sarr at Spurs, he's not going to continue playing number 10 for much longer. And when he doesn't play number 10, I don't think he's absolutely guaranteed to always be in the team. You've got players like Belaber at Brighton, but there's not much attacking threat there. Dewsbury Hall at 5 million is the punt. Xhaka is if you want to play it safe. Otherwise, you spend the 0.5. Reinders if you're confident in the minutes. Otherwise, Elliot Anderson is a great set and forget. So let's get into some of your questions. What are your thoughts on Minteh at Brighton? Is he a viable option? Is he viable? I would say ish. It probably depends on what you want from an FPL pick. At the end of the day, he's only 6 million. If you want to take one punt in your team, absolutely you could look at Minteh. I think he will be first choice right wing for Brighton this season, so that's a plus. Does that guarantee starts every single week? No. I think there's a difference between being first choice and being nailed. Like Salah is nailed, Minteh is first choice, so his minutes aren't quite as secure. Last year when he did start, he got 78 minutes per start, so not bad. There is competition for places in that Brighton team, though. Actually, for 6 million, I would consider Jorginho Ruta instead, because his minutes aren't necessarily any more secure, but they're definitely not any less secure, and he can play in multiple positions. When he's not playing number 10, he could even play number 9 ahead of Welbeck, or potentially if Welbeck gets subbed off in some games, Ruta could go and play there. And I think for the same price, I would prefer to get the guy that might play number 9. So Minteh is definitely a fun pick. His underlying numbers are good if those minutes can go up. I think he will be first choice. I can't guarantee he's going to start every game. If you want someone like that at 6 million, you're looking at Paquetá or Tielemans instead. So should we worry about fixture clashes? For example, Minteh versus Sanchez in game week 1. Short answer is no, not really. It's nice when your players don't play against each other because it gives you the best chance of maximising your points for that given game week. But the only thing that really matters is long-term points. So if you think Sanchez is by far and away the best goalkeeper at 5 million and you want to go for him, it shouldn't really matter who else is in your team. And then for Minteh, if say you're comparing him to João Pedro and you think it's quite a close call, then maybe you go João Pedro just because you don't have a Palace defender. But if you think Minteh is clearly the best, I would just go for him because long term, hopefully, that will work out better, even if in game week 1 it's not completely ideal. But remember, there's worlds where they can both do well. Sanchez gets a bunch of save points, maybe the odd bonus or two. Minteh scores 1 goal, so Sanchez has lost the clean sheet, but Minteh's got you points and Sanchez has got some saves, etc. So if you can avoid it, it's nice, but it's not something that really plays on my mind in a big way when I'm making my squads. So how stupid or wise is it to bench boost in game week 1? I'm giving it some thoughts as I didn't triple captain Haaland early last season and regret it, so I might as well try this time. When you triple captain last season should have no effect on when you bench boost this season. That being said, if you've looked at it a lot and you like it and you're worried you'll regret it if you don't do it, then absolutely activate the chip. It's completely viable. The reason I'm not looking at it is because every time I make a team for game week 1 I'm happy with, it's not good for bench boost game week 1. And then if I alter the team to be good for bench boost 1, I don't like the squad overall. And I just don't think the chip is worth enough points to worry about it that much. Plus, with Dubravka hopefully being number 1 at Burnley, Esteve obviously on my bench, it doesn't need much for me to go right to have a good enough bench boost later on. And also, I keep coming back to the point, and you've heard me and others say this lots of times, in a double game week, a bench boost, we've always said if we get 16 points or more, we're happy with that. The reason that we say 16 in a double game week is because appearance points are 2 points, doubled for 2 games is 4, 4 players is 16 points. So does that mean in a single game week we're hoping for 8 plus? Like how many points is this chip really worth? If I get appearance points from 3 players and 1 attack and return and hit like 10 plus, I'm probably okay with that. And I feel like I can probably get that in any game week later on as long as Dubravka plays. I can wait and see what Mark Guiu does at Sunderland. If he doesn't get minutes, I can upgrade that position later on. In a few weeks, I'll know which players I want to downgrade, etc. Whereas in game week 1, I've got to get a third forward that's definitely going to play. So it's 5.5 million minimum in Peru. I'm already scraping cash from places to try and fit in the players I want. I don't have another million to go and get Peru. So the bench boost is just not worth enough for me to mess around with my team. But it is viable. And if you want to go aggressive where you bench boost and then you wildcard early, that could work as well. Right? We've got these chips. They have to be used in the first 19 weeks. Why not get it done straight away? So what are your thoughts on starting with a 4-5-1 formation? Have forwards become a weaker option this season with defensive contributions for midfielders and defenders? So yes, forwards will probably be a little bit weaker because of that. Also, penalties have been nerfed in the bonus point system. So you used to get 24 BPS for a forward if you scored a penalty. I think it was 18 for a midfielder. Now for both those positions, it's 12. So that's going to hurt forwards. And also, tackles are now worth more in the bonus point system as well. So you might see more defenders and midfielders picking up bonus versus what they did before. I don't think it completely writes forwards off, though, where I would go 4-5-1. The problem with that is most people would do that formation with 2 4.5 million forwards, and we cannot guarantee that any of them are going to get any minutes. Mark Guiu at Sunderland is probably our best bet, but he's probably not going to be first choice number 9 for quite a while. And the issue is, if you go like Watkins and 2 4.5s and Watkins misses out, and your 2 4.5s don't come off the bench, all of a sudden you're down to 10 players. You can't play a 5-5-0 formation. So I don't think forwards are that bad. I would go 4-5-1. The alternative is to go 4-5-1 and have like a bench option that's a forward that will get minutes. The problem is you've probably got to play or to pay, 5.5 million plus for that. And all of a sudden that weakens the rest of your squad. I wouldn't want like a Peru or a £6 million Fulkrug on the bench that often. So I think at best I would go 4-4-2 or 3-5-2. 4-5-1, I get the idea of it. It could work really well as long as your main forward always plays. But I'm not sure I would risk it. I don't think the 4.5s are that good. So is it worth going for a Villa attacking double up with Watkins and Rodgers, or save 0.5 million and go for a 6.5 million midfielder instead? Generally with these decisions, I would try and not worry about the second player in the scenario. So just because you've got Watkins, it shouldn't really have any impact on whether you pick Rodgers. Individually, they're both good players. I think Rodgers, because of the fixtures, if he's fit enough to start in game week 1, is better than all the 6.5s. So Sarr, Njai, Kudus, etc. It's whether or not that 0.5 million really helps you out. So for example, I've spoken about Strand Larsen versus the 6 million forwards. If you think that Strand Larsen is miles better than those 6 options, I'd rather go down to a 6.5 million midfielder and have Strand Larsen rather than have Rodgers and a 6, if that makes sense. So money no object, I'm picking Rodgers. He's absolutely nailed for Villa when he's fit. He often plays 80 to 90 minutes and the fixtures are great. Rodgers is one of those players you can just put in and leave for 7 game weeks. So for that reason, I really do like him. But if you need to save the money, then Sarr is right there and Njai is right there as well. So the fact you got Rodgers would not... the fact you're going for Watkins would not put me off Rodgers. I think he's a great option. Let's just see what Unai Emery says. So what are your thoughts on Evanilson? Apart from game week 1, the fixtures look good and he's low owned. Halfway between Strand Larsen and the 7.5s. In general, I really like him as an FPL pick. And I suspect he will be in my teams at multiple times this season. For game week 1, I'm struggling though because it's Liverpool away. It's just such a tough fixture. If you're setting up in a way where you could bench him game week 1, then great. But I don't think most people are doing that. Just to play devil's advocate with my own point there though, I might start with Minteh. He's got Chelsea away. I might start with Strand Larsen. He's got Man City at home. They're not great fixtures either. All that really matters is points in the long term. So if you think Evanilson is so good, it doesn't matter if you have to play him against Liverpool. I don't hate it because game week 2 onwards, the fixtures are good and he could match the 7.5s, potentially do even better. And you save your money or save some money to spend it elsewhere. We now know that Kluivert might be back for game week 1. If he's not, he's probably going to make an appearance in 2 or 3. So he will likely be first choice penalty taker. But even without penalties, Evanilson put up 0.45 expected goals per 90 last year and 81 minutes per start. In comparison, Minteh was 78 and Watkins was 78 as well. So his stats are good and he's on the pitch a lot. He doesn't really have a lot of competition either. He's definitely going to be starting for Bournemouth and I don't see them signing someone that's going to be major competition for him. So really like him. I just wish he didn't have Liverpool away. If I was wildcarding in game week 2, he'd probably be in. But like I said, if that money from not going Minteh or João Pedro really helps you out, then go for Evanilson. I just think on the other side of that, if you're looking for ways to shave off 0.5 million, then Evanilson to Strand Larsen is also probably fine. Like Evanilson is not so good, I'd feel like he had to be in my squad. So good option. Wish you had a better fixture game week 1. Will be solid from game week 2 onwards. Hopefully you enjoyed that one and found it useful. If you did, please do help me out by hitting that subscribe button and giving the video a like. That is it pretty much for pre-season now, so thank you for joining me throughout. I do have one more thing though, and that is my deadline stream later today, starting at 4:30 PM UK time, answering all of your questions in the run-up to the deadline, getting my team locked in, and all that good stuff. And of course, if you want to get your team rated for free before tonight's deadline, make sure you use the link in the description below to check out Fantasy Football Hub. And if you want to sign up and use all their tools, 50% off right now. And if you sign up and don't win your mini league, you will get your money back. Terms and conditions apply. All the links you need are in the description below. Good luck with locking in your teams. I'll catch you for the deadline stream later.